What's good, guys? Back at it again with another tier list. This is kind of a follow up to yesterday's, where it was the outfielders. This is infield. So, quick disclaimer, right? If you don't see your favorite player, I don't really want to hear about it. Not to sound like that, but infield has 5 positions, outfield has 3. So obviously, I can fit more players in the outfield. I feel like there's more viable options in the outfield. I feel like S tier is way more cut and dry in the outfield as is in the infield. So there is that. Um, these are pretty much only very top tier options. They can make it on any God squad. There's really no bad players on this list. But let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. Jeter, cover athlete, right? At this point, I'd say he's A tier. He's a good option at shortstop. Is he the best for, a meta, a God Squad team? Not really. But if you do still run him, he is fine. Soriano, great swing, or great stats, good quirks, not a great swing. Does have positional versatility, but I think second base is where he brings the most value, being an above average defender and an above average power bat at second base. Makes him a good option. Tatis, somebody I am famously not a fan of. Great stats, would play a good short, but but don't like the swing. Don't like the fact he has no quirks. For that reason, he is A tier for me. Um, Stan, absolutely top tier option at first base. Don't think you can go wrong with him. Great as a DH also. So love that swing. He has a very quick left-handed swing, and it plays very well. He will be a easy slide in for Babe Ruth next season after Ruth is gone if you do not wildcard him. Utley's very good at second base. I would say he's a left-handed version of Soriano for the most part, except he's gonna have a better swing. But with Randy Johnson being, the best starter in the game, a starter that you see a lot, I can't put too much value on a power hitting second baseman who doesn't play that great of defense. Um, it's all right, but he's slow. So balls that he gets to, almost any second baseman with decent speed could get to, but he is still solid there. Still should play a pretty good second base, which is not a premium defensive position to start with. Uh, Josh, I really do like Josh at third base. I think he can compete with those top tier options. Do I think he is one of the better options at third base? No. And that's just because it's one of the more loaded positions in the game, and it may stay that way for a while. Correa, I think, is probably the best true shortstop in the game. And, he could have the argument for one of the better third basemen also. So I think absolutely love Correa. I'm not sure if he plays second or not, but I do know he plays third. He does not play second. He only plays third. I do really like him for that reason. Real Muto, a little outdated at this point. He still does. He still does some good things at catcher, right? Still has that catcher pop time quirk, I believe. So if he can't throw him out, pretty much nobody's gonna throw him out. Still has absolutely blazing fast elite speed at catcher, something you don't get with most catchers. He has that. Has a good swing. Has like that Trout kind of like Will Smith swing. I thought of putting that 97 free Will Smith on the list, but Realmuto is just a better version of that Will Smith. Although he will be expiring soon, so take that into account. This card I wanted to like a lot more than I do. I think he is significantly worse than Utley or Soriano as an option at second base. So for that reason, he's B, right? Still a very good card, still a 99 overall team, but still a 99 overall card, but relative to these two, he just doesn't stack up with them. Marte is a lot of the same, right? What he gives you, these other two cards pretty much give you better. They give you equal contact, I would argue, because Marte is pretty bad against one side of the dish, and his clutch is fine. But these two cards both do that same thing, but with more power and better defense. So for that reason, I think Marte is a little outdated. If you are somebody that hits really well with him, He is still a good option, but that lack of power, I should say, really hurts him. Right. Obvious S tier. Probably the best player in this S tier so far. Will not stay that way, but I have not hit well with him. That being said, he plays probably the best defensive shortstop in the game that I've seen. Jeter did not play good defense for me when I had him. David Wright has been by far the best, and I think Superfractors, he's got like 92, 93 speed, something like that. He's pretty fast, especially for David Wright. Has a good swing, has good pop, absolutely dominates against lefties in a meta where Randy Johnson is the most likely starting pitcher for you to see. So that is very valuable, and he is definitely S tier at shortstop or third base. Napoli, really good option at catcher. He's never going to throw a runner out, but he hits nukes. He gets some of the best bad swing exit velocities I've seen in the game. He gets jammed all the time because he has a very Tatis like swing, but he just gets high exit velos on him. I don't think I've seen anybody hit more no PCI home runs than this Napoli card. Obviously has like every quirk in the game. Has great power, max clutch. As a hitter, you could not ask for too much more from a catcher. Heim, good free option. I'd say he's probably tied with Romito. Obviously has better clutch, but he's a switch hitter. Does not bring that speed that you get with Romito. Doesn't bring the exact same defense. He does some different stuff than what Real Muto can do for you. I like Real Muto's swing a lot more, but obviously Heim is a switch hitter. It's really personal preference, but I do not think either of them have, a discussion to being better than Mike Napoli. Frank, absolutely top tier option at first base. The best right handed first baseman in the game, without a doubt. He definitely has that crown. But in terms of best first baseman, he's in the conversation, but he probably would not be my pick. Ortiz, I'm going to ding a little bit because there are better lefty first basemen in the game right now. Does get the cover athlete boost, which is nice, but he's also absolutely atrocious on defense, right? People say they don't care about first base defense. I do a little bit, right? I would like a silver shield over there. I would like to see my first baseman dive for a ball and be pleasantly surprised sometimes. And you get a lot of those this year where either your opponent pulls the ball down the first baseline or they get jammed with the righty and get jam shot. And the first baseman fields that line drive, tags the runner out, double play. Obviously, you do not expect that to get those with Ortiz. So for that reason, the defense is not a huge threat, but I don't really like his swing. And Randy Johnson, right? Randy Johnson, Randy Johnson, Randy Johnson. Seager, absolutely top tier at second base. Does not quite give you the defense that these two do, but he can do some really great stuff with the glove. I have seen him make some really good plays. Obviously, has arm strength that's catered more to being a shortstop, so he has very good arm strength, helps turn double plays. And I think his swing is way better than that of Utley or Soriano, and he's got that pop. He gets the Cal Ripken boost if you run that. There's a lot of things to like about Corey Seager. At second base. I would not play him at short. Chipper, definitely the best player in this S tier. Switch hitter, so that's almost worth bumping him a tier all by itself. And he's basically max against lefties. Has almost max clutch. Has an amazing swing. Has a ton of good quirks. The only real knock is the defense. He does some absolutely brain dead defensive plays for me, and I do have him super fractured. So in theory, he should not be bad on defense, but the reality is he's actually pretty bad. I've actually seen him play a better shortstop than third base. So for that reason, I think he's S tier at shortstop or third base, wherever you want to play him. Trey would be my option over these two at shortstop, obviously. He's about to expire, Jeter's core, so there is that. But I like Trey's swing way more. You could say he has low power against righties. I would argue it's basically the exact same as Jeter. And his swing's way better. He's faster. Jeter did not play an absolutely stellar shortstop for me. Trey Turner can fill in as a replacement level shortstop on defense. So for that reason, I would take Trey over Tatis or Jeter. Gehrig, again, really good option. A little outdated at this point, right? You can go get this Ortiz for free, pretty much, if you do your team affinities. You can go get this Frank Thomas from playing BR, not anymore, obviously. You can go get Stan Musial. Hopefully, they do rewind packs, and these two are attainable for free in the future. But if they aren't, then just know these three options I think are better than Lou Gehrig, and two of them are righties. So Mauer, S tier, for sure. Definitely the best catcher in the game. Uh, swings a phenomenal bat, max contact, max clutch. Is kind of fast. I think he has 71 or 74 speed, something like that. Obviously, completely maxed out on defense. Has a decent amount of quirks. He is absolutely phenomenal. Definitely the best option at catcher, even though he is a lefty and he will probably struggle some against Randy Johnson. He is absolutely phenomenal. Crawford, I put Seager in S tier. I gotta put Crawford in S tier. They are basically the exact same card. So if you are way off on core cards and it doesn't look like you can get Corey Seager, Brandon Crawford gives you the exact same stuff as Corey Seager. They are pretty much identical twins. So take your pick of either of these two. If you like one and you don't have the other and you want to run one at short and one at second, you can have two of the exact same player in your lineup, pretty much. Matt Holliday, I don't think he's quite to Frank's level. He is absolutely phenomenal. Has a lot of quirks. Can play a decent first base. I think similar to Ortiz, his true value is probably a DH, but absolutely phenomenal. Maybe if you are somebody that runs because I think you would have a silver shield. So maybe if you are somebody that plays like Ortiz or Frank or Stan without parallel, something like that, maybe you would start him at first and DH the others. But for me personally, I run this card at first base, which I think he ranks probably about there. He's probably the third best player on the list. Babe is phenomenal. They have changed the swing a little bit from last year. I loved the 99 from the end of last year. That card literally hit, I think, 540 for me, and half of his hits were home runs. So that card was phenomenal. I swear they tweaked his swing a little bit, but he is still great. Still has maxed out hitting. Still has pretty much every hitting quirk in the game. And for that reason, he is absolutely phenomenal. If you guys don't have him or don't have Chipper, maybe it's worth going back and at least grinding that team affinity, getting one of them, wild carding them next season. They are phenomenal. Probably the best two hitters in the game. Still. Lindor. I got to put him in A tier. I would probably take him over. If I had to organize these shortstops, this is probably how I would do it. Tatis' swing is just putrid, and if you're not running the cover athlete boost with him, then he's not really maxed against any side. So there's that. Jeter, I don't like his swing as much as Trey's, and the defense kind of lies, is what I feel like. And Lindor gets the most foul balls I've seen all year. He is a foul ball machine. You're never out of an at bat with him. He can go from an 0-2 count to a 2-2 count and hit a nuke. He hits a lot of those. He has way more power than it feels like his card says he has, and he plays a pretty good shortstop. Would play a phenomenal second base if you want to play him there. Him and Trey up the middle is not a bad combo, although that is expiring soon. So yeah, guys, that is the infield tier list. Definitely less players on this tier list, but they are all good players. If I load into a game and I see you running any of these cards, probably with the exception of like Marte or Gehrig, because they are kind of outdated at this point, I'm not gonna bat an eye, right? These are meta cards. These are cards that can compose a God Squad. They are absolutely phenomenal cards. Each of them have their own reason for being where they are. Obviously, MLB is very subjective. Swing matters above all else. If you really like somebody's swing, it might bump them up a tier, down a tier. It's really up to you. But yeah, guys, that is the infield tier list. If this was helpful for you guys at all, feel free to like and subscribe. Peace.